Hello, welcome back to LIVENODING. In this episode, we're gonna take a look at this problem posted by Sam at World's Day. So basically, I think the question is, if we have like a star nodes in geometry nodes, currently, how do you make like random number of stars, and then you want to instance it? Okay, so there are a couple of answers. I think the one that's the most interesting and easy to use is the one by Erindales. Basically, what Erin does here is to, first of all, instance the circle, or actually, yeah, instance like a mesh circle. We're gonna turn it into a star a bit later. Instance it, and then he actually realized the instances, and then resample the curve instance based on whatever value that's we assign here. And at later point, the circle will become a star whenever we use like a modulo, and with the modulo we can kind of control the star shapes, like the inner and the outer shapes. Okay, so of course stars always have like the inner and outer shapes. So this is actually a kind of like an example that could be made easier when we have like a loop. So this is like a circle, right? We can create like an instance of stars this way, but currently we only have 4 variants of the circle star. Okay, because we specified this is like star with 3 points, star with 4 points, 5, 6. We can add another one, 7. But we want to kind of do it procedurally. This is already procedural, and just this part, something that need to be looped. We need to tell geometry nodes, okay, perhaps we need 100 different stars, each one of them with different points, and we want to kind of use it as an instance. Okay, that kind of things, kind of like that kind of setup. For now, we need to be using this, or we create the instance first and then use the collections. That's another way to do it. So I have the Erin setup over here. So similar with what Erin doing. There's one funny thing here. However, yeah, this is like a random value for the point intensity. If I take this out, we have a star that's a little bit more random. I don't know why this happens, but I use the same value and it seems to be working. In order to understand this a little bit better, this is Blender 3.1. I actually have the one that's using SVerchok. SVerchok one might be simpler. Very similar to what Erin is doing, just slightly different because it's using SVerchok. And okay, first of all, this is the radius that's controlling the placement of the stars along the circle. This is the number of the stars we can create. Okay, let's see. Okay, the thing with the star anyway, once you start with a 3 star, 4, 5, 6, 7. Once you have too many stars, it's becoming just like a race. So it's not particularly interesting. Let me show you. Okay, we start with 6 circle with 6 points that we're gonna turn into a star. Okay, so this is why there's this number, and each one of them with the step of 2. Very similar to Erindale's one, but of course with SVerchok you can kind of vectorize it. Okay, by the way, SVerchok is an add-on made by developer from Ukraine, and few other developers, Blender developers, work on SVerchok. Yeah, let's take a look. Circle. Okay, this is just like a normal circle. What's happening here from this circle, you know, a circle can have points, and then each point can become a star, right? So that's the idea. And for that reason, we can actually use modulo of 2. For every points, we're gonna alternate the points, so we can have a circle. I mean, we can push, kind of offset the circle based on these alternating points. If we change the value here, you can see the alternating value changes. So we are no longer having like normal stars. This is more interesting looking stars. Maybe you like this, but yeah, this is kind of the something that's adding to the value of the stars. This is also kind of interesting. So this value goes into the star to offset the circle with alternating value. Look, with SVerchok, SVerchok viewer is actually more interesting. So we have, for example, we start with let's make like eight stars, right? 8 stars. We have this value number range 6, 8, 10. Yeah, the numbers start from 6 and it goes up 8 times, and then from this number we want to get the number range. So this is the number, this is the index number of each circle that we're gonna be using with modulo. So we have like this alternating value for the star. This is a very kind of like low level way to create a stars, but it works, you know. So with SVerchok, it might look weird, but this is actually really simple in the way that I kind of hope maybe in some ways geometry nodes will be able to do the looping just like SVerchok, or like vectorizing like SVerchok. So back to Erindales, same setup with the star, right? Oh, by the way, this is Blender 3.1 beta, right? There might be some kind of bug with SVerchok. I think it's divided by 0. Yeah, with SVerchok, if you have like a circle, if you change the value here, it will crash Blender. So that's there's a bug there. It could be with the Python, different Python. Anyhow, let's see, where have we? With the starting, you might be able to create something like this in the end, kind of like this glass. This is an example with a star. Let's say we have like all this random star. We can fill the curve and then use extrude twice, different scale, and we kind of, this is like to put the glass on the floor, set the material, and we have, I think we can end up with something nice like this. Yeah, something to try yourself. There's one thing. Okay, this is what I was talking about, different star, different number of star. Okay, another way to think of this, if we think outside of the box, let's create a star. Okay, start with a box, enter geometry nodes and create a star. Simple star. This is the number of points we want to control. Pass this outside into the group input, and let's move this. This is going to be variant number 1. Move this into new collections, stars. I call it stars, and we can have multiple stars, right? You can manually change this 3 star, 4, 5, 7, okay, something like this. You can still control the stars inner and outer radius. Save this. So we have already 5 variants, and this is the stars on circle instant. So we have this curved circle, and it's the star collections goes in. We want to separate the children, reset the children positions. So this is the multiplication of the star. You can create let me select all these 5 again, duplicate it, Shift D, and then repeat it. So let's say we want to have 25 different variants of these stars. Oh, by the way, these stars, maybe we want to fill it. Fill the curve, I think. Oh, sorry, I mean these stars. Fill hole. So we have 25, but we haven't made like any kind of different variants of this star. We want to randomize the points. So you can create some kind of Python that does the job for us. I'll be using SVerchok, which is a little bit crazy, but gonna prove you. You can get object data, get all these 25 stars. Okay, right click, copy full data path, object ID set, objects coming in, copy paste. So we're gonna modify the modifier value here using SVerchok. Number range, start from star number count of 3 with a step of 1, count how many 25 stars goes into there. Now take a look, our point value has changed magically. Just reload the blend and we have the star, right? It's pretty magical. I've shown you this in the past, but I guess maybe you want to see it again. So we can have like a grid of stars with maybe 10 by 10, 100, whatever. So each one of them is going to be repeating the collection here. But at any time you can always adjust the number of the stars. And currently this is being arranged on the grid. You know, it's too, we need to make it more random, so just plug this into the instant index. That's kind of how I want to do this. I want to show you how we could do this. There are many ways to do this. We have gone like to the low level, so we actually goes and create a circle and then alternate the value, change the radius scale offset of the points alternatively, so we get a star. It's basically how this question been answered by Erindale, which is very clever, very clever. So there are many other ways to do this, but I think the most sane way is like, for now, is like this. In the future we might be able to just use a loop, the loop that does something to this collection of the stars. So we go back, okay, the stars. So yeah, so that's pretty much what I want to show you here. Hopefully this is useful for you. I think the SVerchok example should be the most interesting. If you are using, oh by the way, this is SVerchok, this is Blender 3.1. It crashed Blender, right? But Blender 3.0 release candidate should work. It will not crash. I tested out. I think one of this, I think the number range here is generating something that crashing newer Blender. It could be the Python, I don't know. Maybe the developer can check it out. So yeah, hopefully you find this interesting. You can see here with SVerchok you can generate an actual objects. Yeah, like for each stars. which is might be interesting. But I really love the stereoscope in SVerchok. It's really clear. It's really clear how many data comes in and how many different variants and what's each data is doing. And you can use this value to randomize the circle and turn it into a stars. Alright, so hopefully you find this useful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.